We here.
Yeah, dog.
We here. Hey, when we get a clap from everybody, real talk. Like, we here, man. Like,
Get it.
episode 1 of, and welcome to Keep It a Buck podcast. We actually made it, man. It's been a long time in the making, but we finally here by the grace of God. And I'm Jarvis.
And I'm Josh Evans.
And we are going to be here in your living room, phone, whatever it is. We're going to be here for a long time and a good time. And we're going to be speaking on the harsh reality of all types of transitions in people's life, right? Whether it be in sports, whether it be in life, or any and everything that's in between. You know, we're here to talk about why and how someone got from point A to point B, what it took, so that you can understand and you can know and have a better, perspective on these folks and their journeys. And I say there because we will be having guests too, but for right now, it's just me and my dog, and we here to make it happen. So again, we welcome and we ready for a good time. So I introduce myself a little bit. My man is the star. Most of you know who this is, but I introduce myself and get the boring stuff out of the way. So I'm Jarvis, here in Jacksonville, Florida, is where we're based at. I've been here for about 17 years now. Career-wise, I'm a technical recruiter, but I have done some motivational speaking. I have my own motivational speaking company, and I also have a couple of publications that'll be coming out here soon. So trying to make a little bit of a transition, right, into a new world, a new arena. And, I love Jacksonville. I've been here for a while and met a lot of people here, developed a community here, and we're not going nowhere. Like I said, I love it. And I let them get a little glimpse of who this is right now, the superstar. We'll get that boring stuff out of the way, man. Talk to him.
He like to call me the star, but he the real star, man.
Hi.
I'm Josh Evans, man. I'm originally from Irvington, New Jersey, small town. Been in Jacksonville now since 2013. Attended the University of Florida and was fortunate enough to be drafted to the Jacksonville Jaguars, So that was such a great opportunity for me. And I would say now, man, I'm really just kind of dealing with a lot, family. Got a daughter now. She's 4 years old. So just being a dad, dabbling a little bit of entrepreneurship, some real estate. So really, man, just keeping it iron cool on my end.
That's what it is. And I will say, too, I am a father of two. I have a 14-year-old and a 4-year-old. Being a father is my number one job. I think it's both our number one job.
Yes,
and
sir.
It's what we appreciate the most about, about life right now, And so we want to be able to tell a little bit about that. So, again, harsh realities of the transitions of life, right? Getting from point A to point B, what works, what doesn't work, where some of the bright points are, where some of the dark points are. We're going to get into all of that. And so we'll talk a little bit about, our transitions. I'm a country boy from Weelacka, Florida, right? Shout out to Weelacka, Florida, right? And so small town, I don't think, we smaller than Irvington.
Smaller?
I think we're smaller. You outside of Newark, right?
Yeah, right outside of Newark.
Right outside of Newark. We outside of nothing. And so, we are, when I say we, me and my kids, we're residents of Jacksonville, like I said, for 17 years. And I played college football at Jacksonville University. Shout out to the Dolphins, where I was there from 2006 to 2010. Had a real good career, won a couple of conference championships, got a couple of rings, on the panel. And so, like I said before, I went into the life of the technical recruiter, and, speaking on my own transition, I didn't understand what and how I was going to, do. I didn't understand how I was going to live or what I was going to do. And I know I didn't handle my transition well. You know what I mean? Like I didn't, prepare myself, and I didn't work on the things that I needed to do to handle my transition from college to life. And so everything that happened in between could have been prevented, but it does bring us right here and, to be able to, help other people out. You know what I mean? Help other people out and make sure that they don't do the same things. Right. You know what I'm saying? So talk a little bit about, Irvington to where you're sitting at right now.
No, definitely, man. Coming from Irvington, this small town, is definitely different than, I'll say, the South. It took me 2 years to get acclimated to the heat. Lord have mercy.
I'm telling you.
The heat totally different here compared to New Jersey.
Welcome to the state, man.
But touching on that harsh reality and transitioning, I'm going to take it back to 2000. I think, was it 17 we met? somewhere around that time.
Was it 16? 17.
17.
It was 17.
Yeah, I think
17.
2017.
Yeah.
I don't even think you knew this, man. I was actually in a really dark place, really dark place. I got
Started
hurt.
off like that?
Yeah, man. I tore my quad. I had an identity crisis. Football at this point in my life was over.
Really?
I was trying to figure out what's the next move. Who am I outside of being an athlete? And when I tell you, I experienced so many crazy thoughts that I was battling with and dealing with. And believe it or not, man, it felt refreshing actually when we met going out to the youth football games, man. That you coached for the flag game, seeing your son throw that football and seeing the team come together. That was actually my first time stepping out the house, from the injury. So I actually want to shed a little light on that if you don't mind.
Yeah, for sure. I didn't know this, by the way.
Yeah.
This brand new.
A lot of people don't know this, so I'll open it up here. So I just got released from Washington at the time, and I had a deal to go to Cincinnati. I had to pass the conditioning test, work out and whatnot, and everything was smooth sailing. Came back to Jacksonville, did a little workout, went to the park, ran a few 40s. Actually, the park near your house. What is it, Lasco?
Lasco, yeah.
Lasco Park, man.
Shout out, Mander. Yeah.
That third 40, I'm like, all right, I'm going to push it a little bit more, man, and actually ended up tearing my quad,
No.
Tore the quad, and that ship sailed a little bit at that end, man. But I'll say this, man, I'm so appreciative that the worst thing that happened turned out to be the best thing that happened for me.
Yeah.
Learned so much about myself. Who am I? I'll say this, learn how to love myself and understand that happiness, joy, and love come from within. It's not external, it's internal. And we'll dive into that a little later here.
Yeah, for sure.
You talk about these harsh realities, man. There's so much cool stuff I can't wait to dive in as we really get started here, brother.
I was about to say something, but shoot, that my story can't top that. Now I'm sorry you went through that.
Yeah.
Because I really did not know that until we sat down right here, right now. I guess I can dive into a little bit of my transition and kind of like what was harsh about it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And so, frankly, when I graduated from JU in 2010, I had a son already. So I'm in class, as a father. I'm on the field as a father.
This was your senior year?
Senior year. Going into the last semester. I graduated December of 2010. My son was born that summer in June of 2010. And, I never thought I'd have a kid that early. You know what I mean? And me and his mother at the time, shout out to his mom, she's awesome. We went through a lot. And she was in college herself. So we got two college kids having a child, not to mention, you know how it is. I got to get back to practice. I got to get to practice. I got to get to a film. I got to get to study hall. I got to get to workouts. I got to really go live my life and finish, cap this career off. And so it made it very difficult, And again, I was not responsible enough to handle my transition well. A lot of times, you look at me and see what I'm going through, and it may look like I'm smiling all the time, I'm laughing all the time, but that was tough. That was tough. So push come to shove, we ended up, making it work. His mom came up and down from from Palm Coast to Jacksonville, Florida. And, we made the last semester work where I was able to spend time with my boy. But you talk about, no joke, bro, I'm changing a diaper. I've done this all in one day. I've changed in one morning. I've changed the diaper. I've worked out. I've had practice, and I've studied and taken a test. Crazy. In one morning, and I did that quite a bit and a lot. And we had two guys on the team, at that time, you know what I'm saying, that had children. So I don't have a lot of people to bounce off ideas off of, like, hey, how do you do? What do you do? And speaking on another transition, my father had passed away in 2010 that summer too.
Oh, wow.
So he had me his last year in college, right? The correlation. And so I didn't have anybody to really bounce off what to do and how to handle that. And so I had to figure it out on my own, I had to get dark, had to get dark before it got light,
Yeah.
But that's what makes, us who we are.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It makes us who we are. So on a little lighter note, I came to Jacksonville. I'm country boy, right? So community is everything for me, everything. And so I really had to, living in Mandarin, create a community. I'm not from Jacksonville. I had to create community. And so that's when I started coaching, EJ, started coaching Jonah and all the other boys and doing flag football.
Right.
And so from there, everybody thought that they were going to drop their son off and that would be it. No, you're not dropping your son off with me and we all going to hang out. we're going to hang out. We're going to have a good time. And you saw that.
Yeah,
you know, we really hung out. We really stuck together.
Right.
And so I believe in fellowship, and I believed in creating that community so that we could have camaraderie and these kids can grow up, you know, having another family of sorts.
Right.
And so that's how we got close, right? That's how we got close and started cooling it. And, you know, that time it was beautiful, man. It was beautiful. That's how we met.
Yeah.
That's how me and Josh met, and we've been rocking ever since, man. And so since then, you know, talk to me. Where's life taking you since then?
Oh,
what you got going on right now?
It's been a roller coaster, man.
Yeah.
Roller coaster, man. Like I said, from that transition, you know, after getting hurt, I battled a little bit with my mental health. You know, to be honest with you, man. You know, you're talking about PTSD, you know, chronic pain, and some of the things you deal with transitioning from this game that sometimes we don't know take a toll on our bodies and our mentals, man. So I'm a huge advocate for mental health. As I went through my crisis, and I'm finding ways through therapy. Thank God to my therapist.
Therapy is crazy.
I'm huge on that. You know, get help, fellas. You know, get the help you need. Trust me. You know, it'll help you in the long run. It'll prevent you from anything you might do, whether it's hurting yourself or hurting someone else. Believe it or not, we use this game. I'll say this from 9 years old. I never really realized that football was an outlet for me.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Is sometimes we use that built up aggression, you know, there, right? So that outlet, whether it's frustration from school or your parents or somebody pissing you off, it felt good to go to practice and tackle somebody, hit somebody, smack somebody.
It
around,
did,
right?
legally.
Felt good, right? You know, you ain't
legally
getting in trouble for it. So it felt good, man. But yeah, transitioning from that, man, it's been smooth. You know, everything's been smooth. I want to speak on being a dad, like you talked about. You happened to be a dad early
You're
on.
a good one, Doc.
I got to experience that a little later on for me.
Yeah.
And part of me wanting to take my time, and pretty much all my siblings kind of had kids early on, you know, and they're great parents. For me, I just felt it was best to wait a little bit. You know, let me mature a little bit. Let me be a better man, a better person, to give a child the best me. You know, and I love my daughter to death. But it's something about being a dad, dog. Let's talk about it, man.
Listen,
the best feeling in the world is being a dad to me.
Yeah, and I will say this. Being a parent, you know, again, talking about transitions and switching things up, you know, I couldn't have done it without the help of their mother. Their mother's awesome.
Right.
And, you know, I got a glimpse of that in my life because my mom is a single mom. You know, was a single mom. She's not single no more. She's been married she's had an anniversary. Happy anniversary, Mom.
Happy anniversary.
28 years, I think. So,
nice.
But before that, it was just us, you know. It was just us, and it got rough early fatherhood. You know what I'm saying? Early fatherhood was rough because she was doing so much. I'm going to practices. I'm handling my initial duty, right? And you don't want to make, you know, I don't want to say my main duty is not. Being a father is my main duty, but you don't know that at the time when you know, making that, you know, situation happen. And you know, you're about to get a degree too. I'm about to get a degree. So
it's a lot. It's a lot.
It's a lot. I graduated, and I promise you on everything I love. I graduated, I sat down in my girlfriend's apartment, and I literally sat there and was like, oh, what I'm going to do next? I did not know what I was about to do next. So all I know was I got my son here. We're about to go have some fun. So I, you know, pushing him around and having fun with him. But, you know, it took me literally going through rough points of being a dad to figure out, oh, well, there's steps, you know, involved to be able to make life better. There's real steps involved.
So your senior year, what were you, 20?
I was 22.
22 years old.
I was 22. Okay. I had my boy at 22.
So let me ask you a question. What's something you would say at 22 years old being a young dad?
Yeah.
What's something you feel like you've learned from 22 to where you at now, and a thing you could have done better with your children? Yeah,
I mean, obviously playing college football was a hindrance to that, you know, a little bit, because I could have been there more, and that's one of the things is be there, you know, be literally present and there. I would say the thing that I could have looked back on and I could have improved was developing that community a little bit earlier. You know, our kids live in a different time.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we used to run outside. You know, as soon as we come home from school, we outside, we going. We're working out, practicing inadvertently, you know. We jumping in trees, and I'm jumping on, like I said, I'm a country boy. I'm on top of my shed trading Pokemon cards with my partners and stuff. And then right after that, we getting 2 gloves, a baseball bat, and a ball, and we going and we playing. You don't know, we practicing for 4 or 5 hours on fitness, you know, we getting camaraderie, we getting community, we getting all of that. Our kids don't do that like now.
It's different.
You know? So I would have incorporated more of a structured lifestyle around, play, fitness, fun, and community a little bit earlier, and that's why I went so hard with the flag football situation, because at the time, I think the kids were what, seven-ish, seven?
Yeah.
2017, so
yeah,
seven. And so now, now being then, it was like you start to see the kids grow a little bit. You saw them talking a little more. You saw them, hanging out. You saw them even respecting other elders, kind of, not inadvertently, but they're respecting elders like on a whim. Like,
right.
Hey, how you doing, Josh? It's Jonah speaking. How you doing?
Right.
Miss Keisha, how you doing? Miss Hannah, how you doing? They're doing that.
Right.
You can't do that without actually having a community, And so I was big on that, and I'm proud of that. So to answer your question, I would have done it a little bit earlier. Because initially, I'm broke coming out of college. I ain't got
we all
nothing.
broke, everybody broke.
Right? I ain't got nothing.
Different time.
I'm sitting there like, I think I made $12.50 an hour, my first job out of school, and it was 8 months after I graduated. So thank you, Mama, for helping me out and, going that route. And again, thank you for moms, because like they held it down.
Yeah.
They held it down, but having that community a little bit earlier would have been a little easier for us, man.
No, I like that. Speaking of the flag football, I laugh to this day, man. Y'all was the first, I would say, youth organization where y'all was running legit plays and playing football.
Tell them.
Like,
for real, tell them.
Seriously.
A lot of them don't believe me, man.
Dog, I
don't believe
remember Jonah working on the 3-step, 5-step drop, letting the ball rip, receivers getting lined up. I'm like, dog, this is top-tier coaching.
Yeah.
Top-tier coaching.
Yeah.
This ain't just little league where a kid don't know how to line up.
Right.
I mean, the quarterback ain't had to run to the sideline. Y'all doing signals and everything.
Right.
I said, this is a legit program.
And all my boys play football right now. So,
nice.
it
Talk
let you
about
know.
it. Don't you got a guy? Some guys in high school now. Some guys getting recruited. It's a different era now. Different era.
Dude, Jonah in 9th grade.
Yeah.
Right? So all the 9th graders, at his school that I had a pleasure of coaching, again, they still play. They play well. And again, their community outreach that they have is substantial. They play other sports. They're respectable kids. They're not bad kids, at all. So I'm proud of that. But in regards to, some of these kids around here, his teammate, like, my son is a great athlete. I love, to death, but there's some 9th graders that put, they on another level.
Yeah, it's different.
They on another level. We're talking about, the whole, just for people that don't know, how high school football and recruiting works with the whole rival situation and the stars you get in the rankings or whatnot. Like, these kids are out here, like, living lives that, as recruited athletes, and you were recruited more than me, so you'll be able to divulge a little deeper into that. They're out here living lives that I don't know nothing about. I was recruited by three schools. I was recruited by Columbia, Arkansas Pine Bluff, and my alma mater, Jacksonville University. And so, you got some letters from some other schools or whatnot here or there, but these kids, and obviously social media plays a big part in that too.
Right.
But these kids are, like I said, experiencing life at a different rate, different pace. So, shout out to them, but their transition is different.
It's totally different.
Talk about your transition and what you went through, because you were, the #1 player in New Jersey. Again, star-studded. Talk about that a little bit.
Totally different than what these kids are experiencing now. So during my era, going through the recruiting process, let's go ahead and say it was no incentive. You get what I'm saying? There was no money, no NIL. Which we'll break down too. We're going to tap into that.
Yeah.
There was none of that, right? Like, you were recruited based off your tape, your film, what you displayed. You get what I'm saying? Who you were as a person.
Right.
And it came down to, the University of Florida and Oklahoma. Those are my top two schools. I was fortunate to go to the championship game.
Right on.
As well. But
oh, did you?
Yeah.
Was that major right hit?
Oh my God.
That's the one you went to?
Yes, bro. Yes.
That's crazy.
Shout out.
Didn't know that either.
Shout out.
That's crazy.
Boy. When I say he set the tone in that game.
Hold on. They played Oklahoma.
Yes. Bob Stoops was the head coach of
Oklahoma.
My guy.
So who was the official visit with?
Both of them. I took an official visit to Oklahoma and an official visit to
That's
Florida.
different.
Yeah.
That's different. I didn't know
dope.
that either. That's different.
Yeah, it was dope, man.
Yeah.
The recruiting process was great. I don't think you will find a better recruiting group of coaches than the staff Urban Meyer had, to be honest with you. Those guys studied it. They knew what to tell the kids. They know how to get you active. And he made me feel like I was the number one guy coming in. You get what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
you can come here, you come do. I mean, it's recruiting, but you felt good. Speaking of, man, Tim Tebow called me today of signing day. How could I tell him no?
Stop playing. Seriously?
Tebow, shout out to Big Tim. Yes, dog. Called and said, hey, we're going to make this happen.
That's that boy.
I said, absolutely.
Called you on your phone.
Call me on the phone. Yeah, it was
Call you on the phone like he called you anything else, but that's wild.
Yeah. They put Tim on the phone.
What'd he say?
He's like, you ready to do this? You see what I'm saying? Like, we moving forward? It's like, yeah, we're moving forward. He said, all right, let's go win another national championship.
That's love.
It's crazy.
Did it work right then and there? Like right then and there, it was done. Like
that was it. Well, I kind of had my mind made up earlier that day that Florida probably was going to be the one, but it was still that split decision of Oklahoma possibly. You know, no one knew but me. My dad didn't even know where I was going at the time.
Really?
I told nobody. They just knew the top two came down to those two. But oh man, it was great. You know, the process was great. Totally different when you get there. But just the process of what I see back then, you know, to get a full ride to go to school was different to where we see kids now. They getting damn near offer gifts. You get what I'm saying? You getting cars and bags and chains and
the whole dress up. The parents dressing up.
Yeah, we ain't had none of that.
None of that.
You couldn't bring your homeboy, your uncle, your auntie. No, mom.
You couldn't have coach on the spin around camera. You know, dancing like Brian Kelly did at LSU. You can't do that.
It's getting wild.
It's getting wild. It really is.
It's getting wild.
They're wearing full on like apparel, like full on jerseys. You dressing up like I play for them.
Head to toe.
That's crazy a little bit.
Head to toe.
Another aspect of what they do, right, is we said it earlier, NIL.
Right.
They receive, for those that don't know, NIL is a name, image, and likeness. And so these kids are blessed enough, it is a blessing, right? They're blessed enough to be able to use their name, image, and likeness to be able to receive endorsements and sponsorships from companies and from, a pool of money that comes from the sponsorships and endorsements from the schools that they've been able to use as incentive to be able to say, hey, come play with us. And so these kids now with these NIL deals, my God, the amount of money that they're making,
it's ridiculous.
It puts you in another, not only does it literally put them in another bracket, it puts them in another stratosphere of thinking when it comes to dads like us, because we're the age now, coming close to where our kids are going to school, being able to give advice. Right. Like, how do you give a kid advice saying, hey, look, this school's offering you $80,000 a year to come play. This other school's offering $135,000 a year. Yeah. How do you talk to them? How do you help with that transition? You can't really help with that.
It's tough, man. It's tough to help with that because, like you said, you got money added to the situation now. Right. So when you add in that, are we going because we like the school? Or are we going to the largest amount of NIL that somebody can
where they're going
can give you?
You know where they're going.
I think what was it? Travis Hunter got $1 million or something like that.
I heard that was a rumor, but even the fact that was a little believable or non-believable, the fact that was even remotely a remark.
Right.
My God, it's wild.
Yeah.
It's wild. I actually heard too. Kamani Edwards, who went to Florida from Colorado when he transferred, got a big six figure. You're talking like $300,000 or something to go. And forgive me, I didn't do my research on that to know if that's accurate or not. But just the rumor, again, just for it being a rumor, it's crazy. Allegedly happening, and it's wild. But what has to happen is, and this is a little bit what my company is about. Invincible Speaks is handling the transition of, middle school to high school to college, college to life, and being able to understand that there's a mentality you have to have to make this work. You can't just go out there and grab six figures and give it to a 17-year-old and say, here you go.
No way.
You can't do that.
No way.
You have to be responsible with it. Like the parents have to be responsible with it. The coaches have to be responsible with it. And the kids, are almost third in line with how they have to be responsible with it because you're asking them to do something that there's adults not making that.
Now let me talk about that, Jarvis. You just said the parents, the coaches, right? These are the people who really protect and watch over these kids.
Right.
But the truth is the parents and the coaches don't really know neither. That's the issue. If your mom or your daddy never touched six figures, if your coach, we're talking about high school, your coach never touched six figures, how do you guide a 17-year-old, 18-year-old kid with that amount of money, now, right? Yeah. So I will hope and pray. I don't know, what a lot of these kids are doing, but I will hope that they have some sort of financial guidance or some sort of financial plan, because not only are they making more than enough money now, like you can really live off that and get a head start on life with not making it to the NFL anymore.
Right.
You get what I'm
sure,
saying?
yeah.
Like these people, certain positions, you're making enough to really say, hey, dog, I don't have to make it.
I'm not playing after 22.
I don't have to.
Fool.
Like the league is now considered a bonus. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Like Shador to go to the league, he already made $3-4 million. You get what I'm saying? He's probably going to be the number one pick, right? And he already made a few million in college. So going to the league is extra, right? It's more money,
Big time.
more money for him. But you look at the average, right? You know, my nephew Justin Evans, by the way, who's playing Colorado Saturday
this weekend.
Fire. Yeah, I'll be there. I'm gonna be there.
Fire.
Yeah,
this episode will be released by the time they come out, so we'll see how it works. But shout out to him, man.
I'll be there. But I'm saying that because they're actually playing Colorado and playing Shador, Saturday night, so that'd be an intense game. But I'm speaking to him because it's like, I get to hear what these kids, are talking about in regards to NIL transfers, right? It was a guy from Georgia that came there, didn't play it down last year, right?
Right.
And came with $500,000 in the savings account, right? So you're talking about $500,000 to not do anything, still got 3-4 more years. Some guys playing 5, 6, and even 7 years now, Jarvis, right? It goes on. Like, you've now made way more than the average American, is making. So you're in a great start position. Now, and if you don't manage this the right way, right, that money can easily be gone. By the time you buy that Lambo yours, right, by the time you buy a house, by the time you buy these things that you got big money you cashing out on, there's nothing to show for 2-3 years down the line after that.
If they don't do it right.
If you don't do it right.
Here's the thing. Correct. I'm telling you what, a lot of these kids need to incorporate. I'm going to say the team, because it's not just the kids, right? The kids are kids.
Correct.
It's a team effort when it comes to these coaches, the parents, the kids, the friends, the girlfriends, whatever, the teams, all of them. Because it's not just football players either.
Correct.
Like all of these sports are getting, I think the second highest earning college athlete is a gymnast from LSU.
Oh, wow.
And she's going crazy right now. These kids.
I did not know that.
Right. These kids are posting, an Instagram post or a TikTok, reel, and they're monetizing off of it like you wouldn't believe, And so here's the thing. I actually am a supporter of the NIL. I'm a supporter. But when you're given that level of money, you need to match it with that same level of responsibility as far as the team. It can't just be, we're out here and we're throwing this money at you all. Come play for us, help us win, and that's it.
Right.
Helping us win what needs to be incorporated in that is, let's walk you through the basics of who you are, right? And how you handle not just money, but how you handle schoolwork. Because if you can't handle schoolwork, you can't handle that much money.
Come on.
If you can't handle the small things, you can't be expected to handle all those big things. So you go with the basics first. You help these kids develop the skills, life skills, the soft skills, and help them handle their expectations of self and expectations of the destination, whether they're going pro or whether they're going to work. Because let's be honest, a lot of these kids are getting this money. All of them are not going to the league.
Facts.
They're going to work.
Facts.
They're going to work somewhere. I ain't gonna say 9 to 5.
Right.
I ain't gonna knock a 9 to 5 either, but I'm also not gonna put a 9 to 5 on these kids. Because there's other ways to get money in 9, 20, 24.
Right.
But they're going to have to incorporate some sort of mental responsibility and financial responsibility and honestly, just pure logic on what's right, what's wrong, what can be done, what can't be done, and how they need to carry themselves through this entire process, because there's a way to carry yourself.
Right.
If you carry yourself the right way, people will want to be on your team. The more people on your team that's doing the right thing, the more you're likely going to be guided in the right way, And so that feeling, and the name of my company, I kind of want to put that little shameless plug in here. The name of my company is Invincible Speaks, and the reason I named it Invincible is because before NIL, even with myself at Jacksonville University, you get that feeling of really feeling invincible.
Right.
Like you cannot be broken, you can't be touched. I'm eating for free. I got free clothes. I got, I got a couple, people, supporters wearing my jersey, in the crowd, whatever, And so at the end of the day, you have all of that, but you have to understand that when that's gone, that invincibility goes as well. And now you got to pay for every meal you get.
Correct.
You got to pay for every bit of gas that it takes to go somewhere. And like I said, all the different levels that it takes to do something, I had to realize that and figure that out. and realized that the invincibility was gone. So now these kids, and that was with no money in my pocket. Imagine the invincibility you feel with 80 grand after the fact. You done spent all your money, you got the chains, you got the Cybertruck, you know, you got, you going halfway across the world, you know, in the off season, and now you're done and you're not going to the NFL. And so let's say you have 80 grand left, you know. Now you just spent a lot of time focusing on football, spent a lot of time focusing on the game. You know, did you handle your studies to be able to make your degree valid, you know? To be able to make that, to have validity because guess what, when you're sitting down, when you're sitting down with XYZ, you know, Mr. Smith that's interviewing you, he's not going to interview you and say, you know, how many bang 9 routes you ran, you know, and it ran well. I mean, you know, when you got on your back pedal, he's not asking you that. He's asking you, what did you study?
Correct.
What did you learn? How can it work for my company? You know, how can you be a valuable asset to me, and then therefore in turn I can be a valuable asset to you? Right. You better be able to answer those questions, and that's why I named it that, and that's why I took on that task. You know, that ministry, I'll say, because it's tough. It's going to be tough for a lot of kids. It's going to be easy for some. For most, it's going to be very tough to handle that transition.
But what's concerning to me is for those who aren't taking advantage of their college degrees or their education, right? That's concerning, because let's call it what it is. There's a lot of guys on that team that know this ends for me. True. After 4 years, right? I'm not going to the league. Like, this ends. I done made 100,000, 20,000, 80,000, whatever that number is, right? And if you didn't take your education serious, if you didn't factor in what's my career moving forward, you did yourself a disservice. So when you talk about you don't want to throw a 9 to 5 in there, what are you really equipped for, right? What's your qualifications? What are your credentials that say I can go in this room and even interview with this company, right? If you never went through that, experienced that, like, and you're a football player, like, this is the disadvantage of not even understanding. All you did was, you know, you grabbed the bag, you got your degree, you get what I'm saying? You got through it, but it's not some field you want to be in, don't really understand about the corporate America, entrepreneurship, right? So here's the thing, Jarvis, that $80,000 is typically going to be spending money, right?
Right.
Because you still got to live. You still got to eat. You
have a lifestyle that you can incorporate.
Right, you know, lease the car, board a car, whatever, car payments, like life still goes on, right?
You ain't buy a Corolla.
No, I ain't driving Corolla.
You didn't buy a Corolla.
No.
I promise you did not buy a Corolla.
You got something fancy. You got the drip. You got the iced out chains, right? Yeah. You're living a lavish lifestyle, and on top of that, pride, ego get the best of you. So guess what? You don't want to take a divot. No, I still got to roll with the Joneses. So that is concerning for me that some of these guys won't even really put themselves in position to pursue a better career, to leverage that, to say, hey, you know, I got $80,000 in the bank or $100,000 in the bank. I'm not going to league, but here's what I want to accomplish. Here's what I want to get into, whether it's investing in real estate, whether it is getting that nice corporate job or job that pay you well enough because of what your credentials, you know, put you in a position to be. But you got to start planning now. You have to. It start. I mean, even now, I think you said, Jarvis, they passed it in certain states where high school kids can get NIL now, right?
I know an 8th grader right now that has, and shout out to him because he's a phenomenal athlete. I know an 8th grader right now, I kid you not, that it's the underwear brand, I want to say PSG, it's an underwear brand, and he's in 8th grade. Him and his dad are online with his fire picture, and it says paid partner. He's in 8th grade. Florida has passed a law now where high school kids, and clearly middle school kids too, can earn money for their name, image, and likeness.
Is there a cap, or is it?
That I don't know. Okay. That I don't know. But I do know that, shout out to, you know, my son goes to Mandarin High School.
It's a really good high school.
It is. It really is. And they have a 5-star athlete there themselves. You know, a couple of them. Actually, I have a couple of them.
Did he just commit?
He just committed to Texas. The kid's name is Jamie French, man. Best of luck to him. You know, when he chose his school, I think he had Texas, Tennessee, LSU, Miami. He went and chose a school. You know, they did what they do. Big LSU, throw it out. Nah, it's not it. And Gold Box came over. Come on, Gold Box. And I ain't gonna lie to you. You talking about? I don't know what's in this Gold Box. I guess some people do. I don't know. You might know. I don't know what's in this Gold Box.
I don't know what's in that Gold Box.
My man took out a whole chain, Cuban links with the hook 'em pin, that pin like this big.
Come on.
Hook 'em on there, just like this. Crazy. My man can't be no more than 17. kudos to him. Fire. Fire. But I couldn't imagine what his NIL deal is. All I'm saying is they're getting it.
Yeah.
And like I said, in all seriousness, there has to be a level of responsibility
100%.
to handle what? That transition. That transition for some people is going to be immaculate. It's going to be a blessing. It's going to be awesome. And then for some, it's going to be so detrimental that they're going to have, God forbid, they're going to have mental health issues.
Yeah,
they're going to not sooner than later. Mm-hmm. They're going to be walking in Saks Fifth and Neiman Marcus at one point, and then maybe in a year and a half, now you're going to Ross and Burlington, and you bumping into me, like what we're about to do. You know what I mean? And so that can mess with a kid's mental. So I think it's a responsibility for us, on these platforms. It's a responsibility for us as parents to be able to make sure that these kids are in the best, because you're not going to be perfect, to be in the best position to say, hey, get this money. Have fun with the money. Do whatever you need to do, because it is a huge blessing, but there comes some work with it. There is going to be work with it, So that's my thing on that, man. That transition is tough. It's going to be tough.
You talk about the harsh reality for some of these kids, which I'm all for the NIL.
Right.
I wish I got some of that, when I played. I'm all for it. But most importantly, I would hope and pray, with not knowing everything about it, that they do have some sort of help.
Yeah.
I just feel like, now that kids are making money at 16, 17, 18 years old, does it create too much power? You get what I'm saying, on the wealth, as far as like, now we're paying these guys younger, do we give them too much? Now they're able to be in certain rooms. They're able to buy cars, buy real estate, but like, that's also challenging to the mental. Like, that might be, fear to some people. We don't want to give them too much. You get what I'm saying?
But that's where it comes with a team.
Yeah.
100%. That's where it comes with a team. Again, get paid, get your money, but understand this amount of money comes with work. There's nobody that makes that amount of money in the NFL, in entertainment, in corporate America, that amount of money that does not have some sort of team within their family, have some sort of team that or service that they're paying for, whether it be advisors or whatnot. You're getting assistance for handling that amount of money, because there's so many things that you can do with that money that you don't need to do with that money. Let me tell you something. Everything you can afford, you can't afford. Because it's in your account does not mean you can afford it. If I have $10 in my account and that's it, I cannot go get a burger that's $9.50. You know what I mean? Because there's other business I need to tend to and take care of. This 10 has to stretch, So those kids have to learn and understand that part.
Speaking of a team, and I'll speak for me as well.
Yeah.
I think what's challenging with having a strong team is you don't know how to really build that team, right? Like for me, like I had a financial advisor, right? You get what I'm saying? At the time, didn't really need one. You get what I'm saying? Didn't really need it. As far as not saying I didn't need the financial literacy of how to, invest and do things. But it was nothing I was really investing my money in at the time. So these kids, when it comes to a team, man, really the team is everything, because they got to be genuine. It got to be people who don't want anything from you, people who genuinely want to see you succeed. I think that's challenging. That's challenging during this time, because we don't have a lot of genuine people no more. You got an 18-year-old who make $500,000, and everybody's kind of like, how can I be a part of that to make something back, right? So you got to be real picky. You got to be selective with your team or the people you trust, because you could easily be taken advantage of. I mean, look at it. You got grown men in the NFL who get taken advantage of, all types of Ponzi scheme, people who lost millions of dollars because you trust in this person with your money. Right? So you got to really dig deep, man. For those who are fortunate to be in that position, when you put yourself in position, make sure you got the right people who love you, who care about you, and who genuinely want to see you succeed. On top of that, find ways to make your money grow forever. Don't think about it for now, right? This NIL, this stuff you're making is now, this for the moment. How could that 6-figure check be something I invest in that pay me 6 figures a year with nothing? Passive income. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's the boss way of doing it. Where now I'm comfortable for life. I'm not comfortable for a few years. And I think that should be the ultimate goal.
I tell you what, as a parent, you take your son or daughter to training all throughout their lives, and you do it because you are not very, aware of what exactly to do to make them better. I'm gonna say everybody's not, but most times when you do that, you take your kid there to get training that you can't do or not doing. Do the same thing now that you know. Do the same thing when it comes to these finances. Take these kids in the same way you take them to practice, the same way you take them to the ballpark, the same way you take them to the individual trainer, in the same way you make them go 2 times a day, 3 times a day. You tell them hard work pays off. Hard work is also going to pay off when it comes to this information. There's probably a gap of people that is unfortunate they couldn't get that.
Right.
But now you handle what's in the future right now. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, have these kids educated on everything they can do, to make their transition right. Because I'm telling you, building your transition to be the best it can be is going to take you being the best you can be. You have to be your best self. Dad has to be his best self. Mom has to be her best self. Grandma, granddad, friends, family. You have to be your best self. Work on you to be able to work on the transition. You know what I mean? So that's my thought on that. But I do want to ask another thought. What you think about this episode, man?
Oh, man, I'm excited.
We kind of got into a little bit just now. I ain't gonna lie to you. I kind of got a little caught up.
Yeah.
Because again, it's so important. But I think we got some stuff in store for the people, man. I really do.
Yeah.
I really do. I will say this. When it comes to us and when it comes to the things that we're passionate about, Josh and I do this on the phone all the time.
All the time.
Like, we chop it up and we
conversation.
really have these conversations. So to be able to share this with viewers and share this with our loved ones and share this with the ones who will follow us, because we're not going nowhere. We have something to talk about. We have a mission and a ministry to get out there in regards to helping people in their transition and making sure you see different perspectives, because different perspectives help you out.
100%.
And so we're not going nowhere. So that harsh reality of all these transitions that you go through and that we're going through, please know and understand that there's a method of what to do, how to do. You just got to put yourself out there, put yourself forward to go get it done. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited. Yeah, dog, I can't wait to keep doing this because, like I said, we're not going nowhere.
Nah,
we're not going nowhere. So that's Keep It a Buck, man. EP1, we're done. But again, we're not done. It's in the books. But I tell you what, we're going to make this happen on a weekly basis. We're going to definitely get it out there every week. We're going to try to get it out every Wednesday, every Thursday. We'll be a little more clear here in the future of when that comes out. But just know, like I said, there's a lot of podcasts, a lot of shows that, they've been kind of one and done with the episodes or whatnot. But shout out to this team back here, man. It's big time. This is going to be big time. It's all love. We came together, and we came together for a reason. And we came together to keep it a buck, to keep it honest and to give you, some of the things that a lot of people won't give you, So, again, wrapping it up, I'm Jarvis.
And I'm Josh.
And I want to thank you for keeping it a buck with us. Make sure you do this for me. Please go like, comment, and subscribe, and click that notification button so you can understand what videos will be coming up next. Because like I said, we got a lot coming. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on TikTok. We're going to be making a Facebook here soon. But just understand, we're going to be in your face, and we're going to keep it a buck. And I think today a buck was kept.